We're in the what I call the about to leave the country panic zone.
This is a
Probably
fantastic illustration of how very different two people can be on the same approach. I am wheels up, 26 hours. I have not packed my bag. Shout out to Wayne Giovanazzi. So he's got his comic book in like one of those little glass showcases in Disneyland.
so no listen. I don't know. No listen. And so I want to be in a situation. Oh, I don't know is a phrase I may say quite often because I don't know. So no listen. No listen. I don't know. No listen. No listen. No listen. No listen.
You know what I need to do live on the air that I said I would do in the future or in the past future? I gotta buy my
banner. Big sexy life coach. That has a nice ring to it.
Big Sexy Life Coach.
Who's your coach? Big sexy. What?
Yeah, girl.
You heard it right.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, digital nomads from all over. My ass is about to be taking over Egypt. This is episode 86. 86 is a number that is traditionally referred to when you're canceling something. And even though Big Sexy and I are both about to get on international flights, we will be back, I promise you. In fact, we've already recorded episode 87, so it ain't ending here. Here's Big Sexy.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever this is hitting your ear holes. I hope that it is good. Yeah, man, the gear up towards travel is, we're in the what I call the about to leave the country panic zone. Right.
Oh, you panic.
Yeah, the panic zone. I'm okay with it. Like, I tend to travel very calmly and collectively. However, this is the part where I start going, okay, do I have everything? What do we need? A mix between, going through, okay, I definitely want to take this. We had to pre-pack because we have to weigh the bags to make sure that we're under the weight allotment. At last check, I was 7 kilograms over. So then I have to go back in and it starts okay, well, I don't need this bag. I don't need this. I don't need this. I would love to have these shirts, but I don't need all these shirts. So,
is there 7 kilograms that's not my PlayStation?
Yeah, right. Because the PlayStation is the count, and that is going. It's funny because I initially weighed the bag using my PlayStation 3, which is considerably heavier than my PlayStation 4. Cause I had the 4 Slim. Also, I realized for the PlayStation 3, I also had like heavier cables. I had 4 controllers, and all the cables for them. And I went, wait a minute. My PlayStation 4 just has 1 controller. So okay. And what I was trying to avoid was disconnecting it all.
Yeah.
Put it in the suitcase to weigh it. I said, fuck it. Let me just do it. And that way I'll know. So that's that. And there is. So right now I got it down to, I think I might be at moment maybe 1 to 2 kilograms over, but that does a lot for, if necessary, moving things into the wife suitcases and carry on, because I don't think she will might be considerably under as well. The heavy thing is actually our mahjong sets.
Yeah,
we now have 2 mahjong sets that we're taking over, and one is 3 kilograms and one is 4 kilograms. I mean, technically, if we let the mahjong, that's 7 kilograms right there. But we're not doing that. We're taking at least 1, maybe 2. Although right now we actually have 8 different mahjong sets, but 6 of them are cards. Like, this is a deck of mahjong cards.
Okay.
For the listeners, I am holding up a small box with a little Chinese figurine on it, or figure on it, holding up the green dragon card. These are decks of mahjong cards, and we have 5 small decks and one of the same kind of decks, but in a metal tin. That my wife found online shopping, and these make great, either gifts or we can sell them when we're out there for like $5 or whatever to people who want to play mahjong. So I have that available as well.
And you're leaving in a week?
Literally 1 week. Today, as of this recording, this time next week, I will be in Malaga. Actually, this time next week, I'll still be in the air, but we'll be landing in Malaga that night. I'll definitely be in Europe because we would have been in France.
This is a fantastic illustration of how very different two people can be on the same approach. I am wheels up, 26 hours. I have not packed my bag yet.
Yeah, but you also have the ability. You also have the ability, in case your bag is overweight, to just say, "I can pay the extra."
Right.
Right. We don't have that ability. We're on a super tight budget.
I also bought the first class flight, so they're also not going to fuck with me when my bag's overweight.
Exactly.
But that being said, I'm 26 hours to wheels up, and my only concern at this point is, am I going to remember less than 1 hour from right now to walk out of my office with the PodTrack device that I'm currently talking through right now,
right,
so that I can interview people who are actually fucking interesting when I'm in Egypt.
Exactly.
Because I already know some of the people who will be there, and they are world-class touring magicians, and they're all worth talking to, and most of them are not assholes. So unlike my Disney cruise where I lugged all that equipment with me and everybody was a prick, I actually plan to take some time with folks, if the time is there, and chat on a recording device.
Yeah, this time around, I'm not taking my microphone or as heavy as stand, because my microphone, and listeners, you may realize the sound quality has changed a bit. My microphone has taken a dump. It was starting to get really staticky, and I really looked into how to fix it. And the YouTube is great for that kind of stuff. To say to fix your microphone, you just take it all apart, and you just got to solder that connector. I'm like, you lost me at take it all apart. Like, they showed a guy with a rag and pliers pulling off the knobs, and I'm like,
I don't have a blacksmith table here.
I'm not setting stuff all up. So nope. Yep, the microphone went in the crapper, and I realized I only paid $100 for it. It's definitely gotten its use out of the multiple times I've podcast with it. I traveled with it already. It has served its purpose. It has served me well. What sucks is right before it died, I ordered pop covers for it. So the good news is I'm going to buy another mic. I'm not going to buy another Blue Yeti because of this issue. I'm definitely going to buy a Shure, but then I know I have mic covers already in place when I purchase those. So, the microphone is just like a celebrity, and
it is hard to look at a celebrity going. Imagine the celebrity on the toilet taking a massive dump.
So my mic did. My mic took a massive.
I was wondering about that disconnected non sequitur, but hey.
Well, sometimes you got to have some kind of disconnected non sequiturs in order to play a funny drop.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to most about getting to Egypt?
I mean, it's just a new experience. And, one of the things that, I realized a couple of years ago is that even though I've kind of moved on from doing and performing any sort of magic on a day-to-day basis since getting linked up with hypnosis, is that it still brings me such joy. And it's such, those groups of people are always so positive and rewarding, and just being in that group atmosphere, obviously seeing all the stuff that we're going to see. I mean, the itinerary is ridiculous. we're the fact that we as a group are chartering this riverboat cruise that is just going to be us on it. Awesome
That's awesome.
stuff. And it's going to be a group of people, some of which I will already know because of the Utah retreats or other places that I've run into them, and there'll be some new faces. So all of that stuff is pretty cool. And I'm not going to lie, 4 days in London on the tail end of this, also pretty appealing. And we got tickets to see Hamilton on the West End.
Oh man, that's amazing.
Pretty much the only
actual. Really,
what's that?
I said now I'm really jealous.
Yeah, we wanted to see one show, and she asked about that. The wife did, so I was like, "Sounds good enough for me." I'm not super like, "Oh, I got to see this" or "I got to see that." Hamilton is obviously super popular worldwide. I mean, there was a time where you couldn't even get tickets on Broadway. So party on. We're there. We're about it. And really, just I as stacked as the itinerary for Egypt is, I'm really looking forward to the free flow element of, other than having the tickets to Hamilton, no itinerary whatsoever, and just kind of free range exploring and seeing what's up, and just checking out London for 4 days. And that's really the long and short of it there. And
that'll be awesome.
Yeah, my sincere hope, and I'm bringing my iPad with me exclusively for this purpose, is that I get wrangled into, and I don't know, but I don't actually know if there will be time for this for me to do a hypnosis show on the cruise ship. I will certainly be ready for it if that is something that comes up. If it doesn't, it's not that big of a deal, but because I know that they have, a preset itinerary, so adding something in is not necessarily in the cards. But at the same time, when you find out that, hey, this is here, we could do that. But then again, it's a group full of fucking performers, so everybody
right,
an interesting and cool performance.
Yeah, the phrase "this is here" applies to a lot of people about a lot of things.
Exactly. So and obviously they've got a real, the whole purpose of this, for anybody who doesn't know, and I'm sure that I have talked about this on here, but a handful of years ago, I think 3, maybe 4 years ago, I only learned about this 2 years ago myself. Vanishing Inc., who's one of the big magic retailers, one of the major online magic stores, and they also have a brick and mortar location at Disneyland. Shout out to Wayne Giovinazzi.
Yes, who actually should right now be headed over to Jacob's house.
Oh, is it that time? I don't know.
I have no idea the time, but I'm just assuming because it was around this time, I think last time when we went, or close to it, for the whiskey barbecue that he won tickets to from our podcast.
Woo!
Yeah, shout out to Wayne, as you were about to say.
Yes. So he's got his comic book. For anybody who doesn't know, the comic that he did that is in the deluxe edition of Piff's book from Vanishing Inc. is actually in like one of those little glass showcases in Disneyland, which is super exciting. He was in Disneyland. They went to LA for some time and went to Disneyland for a couple of days before getting to Vegas.
I hate that they were so close, and really made me wish that I had my car, because I definitely would have drove out to Orange County to hang out with them if possible. But it sucks they were so close and yet so far. I mean, they might as well still been in Australia. Just the energy that they were nearby, was pleasant.
So yeah, they decided to turn this concept, Vanishing did, to turn this concept of the magic convention on its head. So when you go to a magic convention, it's just a big nerd fest, all right? And it's, a bunch of sessions all day for multiple days. And a lot of times it's not the kind of place to bring a significant other to, at least not such that they're going to be super happy about it.
Right.
The good thing is a lot of magic conventions, and hypnosis conventions for that matter happen in Las Vegas, which is a city with a ton of shit going on. But, you know, obviously whoever you're bringing with you needs to be comfortable independently rolling out and finding stuff to do while you're locked down in your
around with magician. Yeah.
So the purpose of the retreats, which they do 2 a year, one of them is U.S. domestic, one of them is international, at least international from the perspective of the U.S. And it is more, they're usually a week long, and they are more geared toward all of the other stuff with respect to the destination than the magic. Not to diminish the magic element of it, because they usually bring 2 to 4 really top-notch minds in magic that are part of that. They do lectures, they do performances, but really the magic stuff is only like an hour or 2 out of any given day, not the 8 to 10 hour nerd fest that a convention traditionally is. So like on this trip, for example, we're doing, 2 days in Cairo. So we'll do the pyramids and we'll do the Sphinx and we'll do a camel ride and all this other stuff. Then we go down to Luxor, which is where the Valley of the Kings is, and a whole bunch of
They have that glass pyramid with the light on top, right?
You mean like the one on the back of the dollar bill?
And yeah, that's the.
Oh no, you're talking about the one that's on the north end of the strip.
The south end of the strip.
Yeah, the south end of the strip. Yeah, south. Why am I upside down? No, that's.
There's no glass pyramid in the city of Luxor.
I doubt it.
Egypt, no.
If there is, I'll take a picture of it for you.
Yeah,
hey, where's the guys? Where's the Doritos logo that's sometimes on this bad boy?
Right.
Where's
Blue Man Group? Can I see the Blue Man Group? Where they
is Carrot Top in today?
Where them fantasy girls at?
So yeah, that and a bunch of just really great stuff that we're gonna do, and then obviously there'll be some magic stuff in there with some really amazing magic minds. So obviously I'm looking forward to all of that, and just hanging out with people that I've met on past retreats. And I'm also like, for whatever reason, because I know that on the last day or the next to the last day, so at some dinner where everybody's all together, they're going to drop the bomb on us about where next year's international retreat is going to be.
Ooh, do you have an idea of where it might be? You have hopes?
No clue whatsoever. And I if there is, like, in trying to noodle this out and me saying, hey, what are some places that have some sort of magical historical tie to them? And the 2 big ones that jumped into my mind are China and India, because they have a long tradition of magic from, I don't want to say prehistoric times, because that's not like certainly pre-modern
Neanderthals that were doing all that magic stuff.
Yeah. So, but then I kind of flipped the script in my head of where is a place that if that were the announcement that I wouldn't want to go, and I got nothing. Like, you name a place that I would, other than the obvious, like they're not going to take us to
Afghanistan, they're not going to Haiti.
Or places where, I mean, Egypt is probably as close to any sort of civil unrest that they're ever gonna to put it out there for. But like other places, I mean, there is such a strong tradition of like card magic in Spain and Brazil and any of these places,
like Stonehenge
places that I would just be like, sign me up now. And obviously those of us that are there will have the ability to say, hey, put me down, and you can give them a refundable deposit that holds your spot, even though, like, a friend of mine that was on the Tuscany retreat that they did last year, that's when they announced, those folks got the first hit at Egypt, and then they kind of snuck me in, and obviously they were okay with that because I was a retreat alumni. But yeah, I can't think of a country that if they were like, we're going here, I'd be like, oh, well, maybe the next one.
Right.
But yeah, so it's cool. It's exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
I
since
can't
we're
wait
kind
to
of
have.
talking about performance stuff, I
Uh-huh.
need to take an opportunity, a call to action, so to speak. All right.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
know that independently, I have reached out to some of our listeners already.
Shout out to our listeners.
The end of September, early October is the 10th annual Charm City Fringe Festival. Charm City is a nickname for Baltimore. So it is, I believe that the events run Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's like 2 consecutive weekends. They are currently accepting submissions. So if you've got anything, whether it be theater, music, some sort of like spoken word art, improv show, whatever it might be that you think would fit the bill for a fringe festival, I am taking it upon myself to help them recruit because they don't have a whole lot of submissions, at least from what
When is it again?
It is the let me get the official dates, but it's the end of September this year, early October. It is the where are the actual dates? I know I've seen them before.
Yeah, we should be back, but that might be right around the time that we're getting ready to head back to Spain.
September 26th through October 6th.
Is there a cost to enter?
The cost to enter is, we are out of the early bird zone, $55. And the applications end May 31st. And the way that it works, you go to charmcityfringe.com, hit festival application, it'll bring it up. It is a Google form that you fill out. And then when you get near the end of that form, there's going to be something that you click that's going to give you access to a shared Google Drive folder for which you upload all of your media stuff, which is how I am putting it together, that they only have like 7 submissions because I can see the dates when people have submitted stuff into that folder. And there are only from 2024 7 submissions, one of which is mine, one of which is Bernardo, who's the first half of my Between Two Minds show, the other which is Scoop Jesus. So like I said, I have actively been recruiting from some of our members. I obviously he's got other things that he's thinking about right now, but I let Mr. Donnelly know that perhaps the Noodler should come to Baltimore and try to do some fringe shows. And this is really like, I don't know why they don't have more submissions, because I would think that this type of thing to be more competitive. But if you've got some art
people are last minute
that you want to share with the world, please, let's go. I would love to have a group of like-minded people, digital nomads or whatever you consider yourselves to be there sharing these stages and these venues with me.
Yeah, because I would love to go and potentially submit. Maybe I have to see. So May 31st is the deadline.
Correct.
That'll give me some time to look at it, because I do have a couple of shows that I want to put out. I do have a poetry piece that I was looking at putting together for Stacy Stardust, but I realized we weren't going to be out there on the first Sunday, so I still have the show aspect in mind. I need to fine tune it or whatever, and then I also have the first act of Reservate This, a call center musical,
right,
that I'm putting together for Spin Cycle Theater in France. And so I want to get together. I want to put that together and get a reading together. I don't know if I can have that together. I mean, I wouldn't have to have that thing together by the deadline. The question, of course, becomes cost of, okay, if where we'll be, can I afford the flight to get there? What am I putting up? What is ready to go, or close enough to be ready to go that I'll be ready to perform it at a Fringe festival? So maybe for Big Sexy personally, maybe. But listeners, if you are a performer or entertainer and you have something, you should definitely look into it. Where do they go to do that?
charmcityfringe.com. It looks like they're looking for shows that are between 40 and 60 minutes. And it's really, wide variety of stuff that they are interested in taking.
It's a fringe. So if you got some experimental theater that you want to take out to the Baltimore area, go ahead and make that arrangement.
And I'm just looking through to see if there's anything. Yeah, that's about it. That's why Bernardo and I have and this is not new because this is kind of standard for fringe festivals. Our show runs an hour and a half together, but it's two shows that could stand on their own. So we've applied separately, and that's what we're doing in Rochester, which is super cool.
Have you spoken to them about getting you guys like book back to back, as it were?
Baltimore?
Yeah.
Not yet, because we probably won't get like they're not announcing anything to anybody about
just yet.
We're technically not in. I'm I'm assuming from the limited submissions that we're in.
Right. Okay.
So yes, what I am doing here in promoting other people to apply maybe works against me, but I'm not super worried about it. I want to see these types of things succeed, and so if that ends up meaning that I get pushed out because somebody else that had something that they thought was more interesting got pushed in, by all means, it just makes the whole concept of the festival stronger for future years. So as far as I'm concerned, party on.
Right. Yeah, we speaking of performance, I finally started the discussions about improv in Spain and getting people ready for our return to perform and do workshops while I'm there. Again, I have to make sure that I'm not stepping on anybody's toes, but I am going to be putting on the other shoe so that people who want to get a little bit more out of their improv can come do my class. And of course, all my classes are going to be in English because that's all I speak. I can speak some basic Spanish that I've been learning. Thank you, Duolingo. Realize I'm on a 200+ day streak, which I'm happy about. Like I'm really, oh wow, I've made sure to do at least 5 minutes every day, because that's about how long it can take me to do one lesson, just to keep the streak alive. But I really don't want to let the streak die. And it's a cool way to start the day. Start the day with the Spanish. It's like, because they do things to try to keep you on the longer. Like they give you, double points for 15 minutes. I don't want to be here for 15 minutes. I'll take the double points and I'll do a quick lesson or whatever, get the double points on that. But then you can join up with friends and do friend quests and stuff together. So I really appreciate that kind of stuff. Shout out to any friends I've done Spanish quests with. I appreciate you all helping me out. Oh, yeah, you're welcome. And we're going. Welcome to Captain Birdseye 4, and I'm hoping to keep that streak alive when I get to Spain. It's a great way to practice. And then I'm going to try to start putting it into actual practice. What I've been working on doing is trying to get my brain to connect certain phrases to always say it in Spanish, right? So, no lo sé is I don't know. No lo sé. And so I want to be in a situation. And I don't know is a phrase I may say quite often because I don't know. So, no lo sé. No lo sé. I don't know. No lo sé. No lo sé. No lo sé. No lo sé. Right? Kind of gear it in the brain. So then anytime somebody asks me a question that I don't know the answer to, instead of saying I don't know, I say no lo sé. I've already gotten in the use of the habit of saying gracias and hola.
Oh, de nada.
and all those pleasantries. Lo siento, there are every now and then it'll teach me a phrase, and I'm going, okay, that's a phrase I can actually use. I don't need to say that my brother likes to go running on the beach, though I know how to say my brother likes to go running on the beach. Mi hermano le gusta correr en la playa. My brother likes to go run on the beach. But I don't have a need to say that. Well, I will have to say I don't know. I do have to say thank you. I do not have to say donde está la playa. Where's the beach? That's the important question. But I learned that before I even got on. Before I even had this. That was the first phrase that I worked on learning. Donde está la playa? Because donde está el baño? El baño. Donde está el baño is probably the most important sentence that I know in Spanish. And that's where's the bathroom. Because if I can find the bathroom, I'm okay with everything else. Yeah. So I'm really looking back to getting back to a place where I have to practice my Spanish regularly.
Yeah. Let's do a show in Spain.
Agreed. Yes, absolutely.
We could kind of do it like the way I've figured out that like the format of my show, the 2-act show.
Mm-hmm.
And please, I am not saying this to insinuate that I am looking to cut my stage partner out, because I'm not. But the ability for us to say, hey, we're going to do an improv show and then an intermission and then my hypnosis show, or a magic show and an intermission in my hypnosis show, or a couple of comedians and an intermission, whatever. Like we could slot something else in there.
Yeah.
If the travel of bringing Bernardo over doesn't make any sort of sense. And let's cut it up, man. Let's try to put something together. Especially, I mean, my schedule's kind of stacked, but we'll figure it out once you get there. After I get back, especially from my Oregon stuff, I feel like there's going to be a lot of leveling up for me in that week that I'm out in Oregon that is going to make me more comfortable doing a show in a strange land, so to speak. We're not
Oregon is definitely a strange land.
That's a different kind of strange, though.
Yeah,
and I think Luke Popsicle plans to be out there for at least one of those shows. He's asked me about particulars, and I said, boom, we're here to the dates. Here's the location. I don't know times. But it's kind of one of those, you're not buying a separate ticket. You just have to come to that county fair. And then obviously as we get closer to it, I'll be able to say, hey, I'm going to be on at 4:00 today or noon or whatever it is. I don't know.
Yeah. And by then I will be in talks and much better and closely knit with the improv community within Malaga. Shout out to all those guys. Although they seem to have, some of the factions seem to have split as well. One guy wants to do all the shows and everything in English. Another guy wants to do the classes in Spanish and English. And it seems to be a little bit of divide. I also noticed that they tend to have their workshops on the same day, which, okay, all right, I see what you're doing there. I recognize this. I've been in theater companies where people had different ideologies and decided to split together. But I'm going to come in and I'm not going to necessarily be a uniter, but I am going to, give people who want more of it, who really like it, the opportunity to get it from a different perspective. Because I do come from a different school of improv that I noticed they both come from. Each of them are a little bit different. One is a lot closer to myself than the other. But I do plan on holding workshops. And I definitely want to do the workshops where I do improv for performers and also improv skills for non-performers. And offer this as let me give you some skills that you can use in everyday life or at your job site. Different ways to think about things and different ways to approach life without using the improv bases and improv skills that I have figured out over my many decades of living. which will lead me into doing coaching, which is one of the possibilities that has been presented to me. And somebody said, you should maybe become a coach. You should look at doing that. You give really great advice. I'm like, oh, well, let me look into that. Big sexy life coach. That has a nice ring to it.
Big sexy life coach.
Who's your coach? Big sexy. What?
Yeah, girl.
You heard it right.
Yeah.
Big sexy's my coach. Oh, wait, what are you learning? Man, he's deep about life. He's into life. He understands, and he will tell it to you real. He'll give it to you as honest, and he won't sugarcoat it. And if all else fails, he'll tell you to put it into somebody's mouth.
Speaking of coaches, I've got some clients that have new coaches.
Yes, you do. The NFL draft. Let's get into it. Let's chop it up. The NFL draft. For those who don't know, the NFL draft happened recently.
It did.
My co-host is an NFL agent
who is doing a hypnosis show on the third day of the draft.
And were you hypnotizing the other teams? So you should incorporate that into your agent work. Like, I can get you on a team. I just need to sit down with the head coach.
That's right. Yeah. Maybe one day. I mean, I would love to be able to do a show for a team. That'd be great. So as we've talked about on an episode that I know that we banked and we're sitting on for a while, but I know has been released.
The Underwear Olympics.
Yeah, the Underwear Olympics 2-3 weeks ago. If you haven't listened to that, check it out. So when you listen to that episode, you'll understand the gaps in my knowledge. When I describe what happens. So what happens is this: there's 7 rounds of the NFL draft, and then there's this unwritten, untelevised, quote unquote, 8th round, where anybody who doesn't get drafted potentially gets signed by teams, because where they stand right now, every team is somewhere around a roster size of 90 players. By the time the season actually starts, the regular season, they'll be down to 53 and then what's called a practice squad. So it's kind of some extra players that aren't on the main roster. And this may be the year that the roster moves up to 55. I know it's either this year or next year, and quite frankly, I don't know off the top of my head. But the roster is slightly expanding. So they end up signing all these players that are undrafted. Every team, it's a different amount based on their roster size. This is the first year that I have been in this business where every single player that I have represented in the draft had a contract with a team or an invitation to what's called their rookie mini camp. And so that's great. Everybody's associated with the team. I'm not going to go through and name names of everybody that I represent and what teams that they're a part of, but I will give some highlights that are relevant. Here we've got you're a Raiders fan, and
yes,
I know that we've got some Vegas-based listeners. So we've got a wide receiver who will be playing for the Las Vegas Raiders by the name of Jeff Foreman.
That's awesome. Shout out to Jeff Foreman.
I believe he's wearing number 80. Let's see. I already had another player there, another wide receiver named Christian Wilkerson. He was actually from the from the 2020 draft. Right. So he's been in the league for 4 years, bounced around with a couple different teams.
You're the agent. You need to make them listen to the podcast.
Yeah. Absolutely not. Because you remember the Underwear Olympics episode.
Oh, right.
And this one as well. Not really great, No. No. I am getting some weird calls right now. Why would somebody from Louisiana be calling me? I've always wanted to do this. You're live and on the air. You are live on Big Sexy Digital Nomad. Like, you're literally live. We are live streaming this episode. And I know you're a scam call and you haven't even clicked in yet. I put you on speaker. Really? All right. Goodbye. One of these days we're gonna get one where there's actually a live ass person on the other end.
Well, speaking of phone calls, really briefly, I heard that you spoke with our friend Smitty Scoop.
I did.
And apparently he gave me a call today. We both did the survey that he was doing for Scoop Fest. And apparently, up until question number 7, you and I answered exactly the same. So that's co-host for you.
There you go.
Yeah.
We're not all different in all ways, just when it comes to luggage and freaking out about packing.
I think the question that we differed on, and I won't give the answer because we're live right now, but one of the questions was, who would make a better lover?
Okay.
And I think we differed on our answers. And again, because we're live right now, I won't give the answers, but listeners, if you wonder who we each said, listen to a future episode of us, and we'll discuss it in a future episode after Scoop Fest.
After the actual, because what Smitty is putting together is a Family Feud style Scooperty. So he is asking a whole bunch of scoops the same 10 questions, of which all of the answers are either Matt, Paul, or Jacob.
Right.
So then it's who would be this? Who would be that? Who is this? Whatever. And then they're polling, basically the answer, I would imagine, is the number one answer. Probably the most. Who did more scoops say X?
Blah,
type
blah,
of thing.
Blah, right.
So I don't feel like that's much of a spoiler for us to explain it here, because a lot of times on their show they gloss over the explanation. So you get it here without spoiling anything, because of course we don't know what anybody who else was even, he's probably just being like, you're a scoop, come here, sit with me, answer these 10 questions.
Right, exactly.
Because literally I was on the phone with him 6 minutes maybe, and 2 of that was talking about, hey, do you have his number? Is he in a place where he can receive a call? And I'm like, here you go.
Which surprised me that he didn't have my number. But then again, I don't know why he would. It's not like I publicize it everywhere.
Yeah.
But, listeners, if you want to you want to contact me directly, reach out. I'll give you my number. I don't care. I'm not famous enough yet to care if people have my number. Anyway, we're saying that you have agents, or you have clients that were successfully drafted. What about the client who did the running with the 4th fastest?
Oh, the tight end, Tampa Bay. Yeah. How about this? I'm going to give a rundown of teams who have players on, and I'm just going to keep it surface level. And if you happen to care or are a fan of one of those teams and want details, hit me up. I'm not giving less information here to be dodgy. I'm just trying to kind of assess what I think our listeners give a shit about. So if I'm wrong and you care more, hit me up. Then we'll expand upon this. Given the lack of response and follow-up questions from the Underwear Olympics episode, I think I'm in the lane here. Let's see. I'm going to try to do this geographically northeast and work my way through. Well, there's a offensive lineman for Baltimore, Tampa Bay, Tennessee, Green Bay, couple of Vikings. We already mentioned the Raiders, Denver, Seattle. We got a running back in Seattle. That's going to be that's a good slot for him. What else? Let's see. I'm looking at a picture of a guy with the Vikings helmet in front of him signing his contract that was just texted me earlier today. I mean, we got like 10 guys new on teams, so it's fun stuff. And I'll get more excited about it, and I'll get deeper into it once we get to the season, when I know that guys are going to be active on teams. It's probably, in my opinion, the best way to do it. To be like, hey, so and so, on this. Did I say Green Bay? Yeah, we got a guy in Green Bay. At some point in time, it'll be time for me to get one of those boards where it's like, which team don't you have players on, or haven't had players on. We're getting close. I got a Saint. That's all I can remember off the top of my head right now, which is the reason why I'm not encouraging any of these cats to listen to this, because this makes me look like an asshole. But that seems to be a recurring
But that's
theme.
a lot of players. I mean, that's and memory ain't always the greatest. But shout out to all the players who made it onto a team, get onto a roster. Congratulations. I hope you excel. And eventually you are on a playing card, and some little boy in some podunk town is so happy that you took the time to randomly, run by him and give him a high five while they were at the game.
You know what I need to do live on the air that I said I would do in the future, or in the past future? I got to buy my
Star Springer banner?
No, my eSIM. For when I go,
yes.
Remember, I said that I was going to do. I think that this is in a bank episode that's coming next week, where I teased the fact that I would have, or maybe we would have done it now. That we had. So I got this app. This is what you got to do apparently when you're traveling internationally and you want actual data and potentially cell service. There's an app called Airalo, AIRALO. Thanks to Beer in a Backpack for turning me on to this, which this is the way to do it. This is where you buy eSIMs that allow you to actually use things like WhatsApp when you're in the other country. Let's see. No, this is like a feature type of thing, right? Like we're actually just doing this.
Yeah.
All right. So
yes.
I think I need to do a global one, because I'm going to be both in Egypt and in England, and I waited until now because they're for a period of time. So this one here is good for 15 days, and
the 9th it'll be done on the 14th.
No,
I'm sorry, the 24th.
And I return on the 22nd. So this one is good. So I'm on Airalo. It's going to give me 2 gigabytes of data, and I guess if I go over that, I can get more. I have no concept of how much data I use.
Right. You can look at your phone, and it'll tell you. It can give you. Your phone has analytics like that. It'll give you how much data you use.
Man, that sounds like a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
Well,
or you just not care about it. I don't think you. I doubt if you use 2 gig. You're not like me. You're not. I don't know if you're like me or not. You're not on your phone all the time, are you?
No, not really. And my intent is to be on it even less when I'm on this. So yeah, that sounds good. No, that's the wrong app as I'm flipping back through here. All right, so I'm going to do the international 15 days. It's going to give me 2 gigabytes. It's only $17 US. And let me just make sure that there are 124 countries, but let me just make sure that Egypt is on that list. And I'm probably looking at G for Great Britain, right? No.
E for England, or U for United Kingdom.
It's probably United Kingdom. Scrolling down. United Kingdom. Perfect. Buy now. Okay, so they have available top-up packages, I guess, if I needed to add more. So I'm going to buy that.
Smart.
And I guess I have to create a login.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
no.
you tend to be the situation as you finalize your purchase.
I'm going to log in using my Apple ID, and I'm going to pay.
Using Apple Pay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like the iPhone? Are you a fan?
I have bounced back and forth, or I had bounced back and forth years ago, but I want to say that the last time that I switched back to the iPhone might have been 8 years ago, and I haven't looked back since.
I can't do it. My mother has an iPhone on our plan, and we both have, me and the wife have Samsungs. I hate the iPhone. I hate it. I'm sure maybe if I had it from the beginning and I was used to its functionality, I'd be okay with it. I cannot stand it.
So that's it. I guess I'm good to go.
eSIM purchase. Dun, dun, dun,
eSIM
dun, dun, dun.
purchase. It is not obviously in effect yet. I'll do that somewhere, probably in London when I'm at my layover or whatever. And I will certainly follow up in the future with whether that was very easy to acquire. Let's put it that way. And we'll see if it is as easy to use.
When
Now,
you
my
fly-
assumption is
you said you fly out in almost 25 hours now.
correct. Yeah.
Do you have a layover before you get to Egypt?
Yeah. In London.
Oh, so your way out there, you have a layover in London.
Correct.
And then you would have the exact same layover coming back, but you've extended that.
So we bumped it for 4 days. Yes.
Right. That's exciting.
So
how long is your layover?
3 hours on the way out, on the way through. Right. And I think that when you're doing international travel, they're not allowed to schedule a layover that's less than 2.
Yeah, because it takes about that long to get through customs.
Yeah. So I'm going to put this number out there because I know that some people have already reached out to me about being in the UK when I'm going to be in the UK. So I'm going to give everybody, and this is public information. So if you find and add this on WhatsApp, it is the country code is +1, and then the phone number is 443 877 2800 2800. That is it'll come up as Judge Mentalist. So that is, I use that for my professional bookings, and you are more than welcome to add that number on WhatsApp. That way, if you were to shoot me a message now, I'm going to get it. But also, I'm pretty sure that when I'm connected to this eSIM, I'll have access to that. I probably won't have access to the iMessage, which is, where all my stuff comes through right now. Well, unless somebody.
What's that number again?
It is +1, which is the country code, 443 877 2800.
There you go. Viewers of the podcast, you now have that number. Take time, write it down. Hit Judge Mentalist up, especially if you're a listener in the United Kingdom. It's always fun to have friends. Cause y'all remember when me and the wife went to England. We were so happy to go, even though we're only going for 1 day. And it sucked so heavily because we have so many friends there and didn't get to see not one of them. Everybody was too busy. To be granted, we were there on like a Wednesday, I think. Tuesday or Wednesday. So people had to work and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That happens. But when we go, we are planning to go back. We do plan to go back again at some point in time and spend more time there. Definitely make sure we need to see our friends. Shout out to Joe and Alex. Shout out to Bree and Sam. Shout out to Harry and their husband, whose name I don't remember because we haven't really met yet. So, but shout out to all of them and any of the other friends we have across the pond. Shout out to Mira, who is giving me some good information about stuff across the pond as well. Listeners, if you would like information about like the places we've gone and where we've gone, the travel, the things we do, if you plan on traveling, like you want to go to Spain or whatever, you have questions about that kind of stuff, hit us up. Let us know. Be happy to provide information. We talk a lot about entertainment here. We talk a lot about magic and hypnosis. We talk a lot of shenanigans and every now and then some NFL stuff. And we talk about Vegas a lot and our fellow podcasters. We do shoot the shit, but we both are also a wealth of information.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions about stuff, feel free to ask. I always say sometimes it's hard for me to think about like what to present, as it were. What topic of travel education do you want to hear from Big Sexy Digital Nomad today? I don't think of that kind of stuff. And so for instance, suggest using Chat GPT to kind of generate some potential questions, and maybe we'll do that in a further episode. Maybe I'll hit Chat GPT up with like top 10 questions people have about becoming a digital nomad, and then handpicking some of those and answering them on air. I think that'd be kind of fun. And if there's any other formats or anything else you'd like to hear us do or see us do, don't hesitate to ask. We appreciate that. Oh, I always got to remember. I can remember that we get to do this through this program. We can do this on air. So I can do this for the video and then this for the audio.
What kind of weirdo digital nomads from cruise ships? Well, when I'm not being hypnotized by Judge Mentalist or serenaded with custom parodies by Big Sexy, I'm thinking about, talking about, and writing about cruising. Check out ship tours, cruise tips, and even join us on a group cruise by visiting cruisehabit.com/BSDN. Come talk ship with us. Again, that's cruisehabit.com/BSDN. Thanks for listening. Safe travels.
That's right. Let's talk a lot of shit.
Shout out to Billy again. Appreciate them over at cruisehabit.com for being a sponsor. If you too would like to be a sponsor of the podcast, you have an ad for something you want to promote, hit us up. We'll definitely put it in. I wouldn't mind. We'll start having a designated segment for our different sponsors. Happy to do so. If you want to just, be a personal sponsor of the podcast, swing on over to bullwiththebutthole.com.
Yeah.
Where you too can join our Patreon community, sign up there, get access to things like our bonus episode videos where you can see the people that we get a chance to interview instead of just hearing their voices. You also get access to behind the scenes stuff with either, some Between the Minds stuff, although that's not on the Between the Minds Patreon. But you access to my daily walkabouts here and there that I post every now and then. Also, we're up for suggestions if there's anything specific you want to see that you think would be of value to you that we do. Hit us up. Let us know. I sincerely appreciate all feedback, all of it. It's really helpful. It helps me figure out where we're going. Garrett, we have said from the beginning, this is for you. This is a community expert. It's all community exploit. It's also, we like to hear ourselves chat. That's why we have podcasts. That's what we do. But so you can also go to our Patreon and have a say in what happens here.
That's right.
Yeah, and if you want to reach out directly, you can hit me up at Who is Big Sexy or at Big Sexy Nomad, and you can hit Judge Mentalist up. You're still at Psychic-ish.
Yeah, that's not changing. That's too good. I also we dropped my digits on here, so y'all got a direct line to get in touch with me. Just hit that up on WhatsApp.
Y'all got access, and be sure to again check out our sponsor,
Cruisehabit.com, bitches.
Yeah.
Go to cruisehabit.com/BSDN or cruisehabit.com/bigsexy. And let them know that you went there to a site via us. To everybody who joined in on the stream, thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you all being here and on the gram. And shout out to Abby joined in. Hello, Abby. Good to see you. Yeah, Abby, you got to check out her interview. She was one of the first group of interviews I did off of the cruise ship. You guys may remember. They've recently been traveling more around the world. Definitely have to have her back on the podcast. She's did some time in Marrakesh, spent some things in Marrakesh and all that kind of stuff. So really excited. Definitely look forward to chatting to her again soon. Abby, we'll have to set some stuff up. But in the meantime,
Safe travels.
safe travels.